Joining us now, Valerie Jarrett, former senior advisor to President Obama. Her book is titled Finding My Voice, and it's out now. It is a great read, so find it. Valerie, thanks for being with us.
Thank you, Andrea.
To catch my breath at the whole idea of these Michigan militia members who've, some already, as you know, not these people, but some people have already been charged with trying to kidnap and possibly execute the governor of Michigan for COVID regulations. And now they're talking about wanting to bring guns to the polling places. And if they're going to observe this ban on it, they're still going to try to watch the polls. And, how intimidating could this be for minority voters, for others who are afraid to vote?
It could be very intimidating, Andrea, and it's why we all have to just continue to show up, make a plan. If you can vote early, do so. Don't wait till the last minute. And certainly do not let anybody intimidate you. I think what President Trump is really doing is fueling this kind of anxiety about the integrity of our election. And in the United States, that should not be. We have secretaries of state around the country whose job it is to make sure we have open and fair elections. And yet we see the kinds of activities where people are standing in line waiting for 10 and 12 hours. It's unconscionable. But the way we combat that is to vote, not get discouraged and not let anybody intimidate you, but show up and vote.
The president again this weekend in Michigan attacking Governor Whitmer again, 10 days after the foiled plot to kidnap her. And she says that the president is encouraging domestic terrorism. What can we do about this, since he's going to be out on the stump every day?
But we just have to combat it. And I'm glad she's using her voice to speak up and push back on him. All she's trying to do is to keep the people of Michigan safe by encouraging them to take reasonable, evidence-based precautions. And then that incites the kind of reaction that you see. And I actually think that this is going to backfire on President Trump. I think he's appealing to a shrinking base. He's alienating a lot of voters, not just women, but men and women around the country who look to Joe Biden, who has a message about bringing us together, who says, yes, I'm a Democrat, but I'll be the president for all of America. Andrea, I think that's what's resonating. But in the process, I think what President Trump is hoping is that if he doesn't win, then he casts a pall on the integrity of this election. And we are a country rooted in a democracy, committed to the smooth transition of power, yet he's implying that there should be no transition of power, and that if he doesn't win, something nefarious is happening. I don't think so. And by the fact that we are seeing a record number of people who are voting by mail and showing up for early vote, I think sends a very powerful message. But this is no time to take the foot off the pedal. Everybody has to vote. And
the best weapon, campaign rally weapon, of course, that Joe Biden has is his former, running mate, his former boss, Barack Obama, who's going to campaign for the first time in person in Philadelphia and in Pennsylvania, a key battleground state. What is the strategy behind coming out at this point in the campaign, and what will his message be to voters?
Well, look, this is the home stretch. Obviously, President Obama has been very outspoken, both at the convention and using his huge social media platform to explain why he believes that Joe Biden and Kamala Harris are the best pair to lead our country going forward, that this is the most important election of our lifetime and what's at stake. And he will contrast the two leaders. He had an opportunity to work day in and day out with Vice President Biden for 8 years. He knows his intellect, his competency, his character, his temperament, and his empathy. And it will enable him to tell the story about why he believes that Joe Biden is the person to lead our country. Nobody knows the traits that you need in a president better than somebody who's been one. And nobody knows Joe Biden, who served so ably as not just his vice president, but his counselor, his advisor, his friend for 8 years. And so he is a very powerful voice, and he's looking forward to having a chance to campaign in a state that he loves, Pennsylvania.
And how does he do it safely, given the COVID restrictions? Do you expect a drive-in rally such as Joe Biden's been holding? Because he can't do a traditional big rally indoors or outdoors.
Well, he certainly won't do anything that puts anyone at risk, either himself or the supporters who show up, in sharp contrast to President Trump, who seems to have this craving for these large rallies, even though His own advisors have said to him, his medical advisors have said that he's putting them in harm's way and putting everyone who they come in contact with in harm's way. So I'm not going to get out ahead of the Biden campaign on exactly what President Obama will do, but I can assure you it will be safe and it will follow the science and it will be exciting and exhilarating, and I hope everybody tunes in.
And the Republican, on the other side of the aisle, the Republican Senator David Perdue in Georgia, running for re-election, was campaigning and mocking Kamala Harris's name Friday. I wanted to play that just to remind people of exactly what happened.
But the most insidious thing that Chuck Schumer and Joe Biden are trying to perpetrate, and Bernie and Elizabeth and Kamala, I don't know, whatever.
So he said it was just an accident, or, just he misspoke. He serves on a committee, on the budget committee, with Kamala Harris. What do you think his motivation is? Was this racism? Should he apologize?
Yes, it was racist, and of course he should apologize, and of course he knows how to pronounce her name, and it's just another way of trying to diminish her and make her seem like an other, which is a pattern that we've seen within the Republican Party, of course, beginning with President Trump calling her a monster or communist. And here's the point, Andre, it will backfire. People are sick and tired of that. They're sick and tired of trying to make Americans feel as though they are less than. And that's not just for the people who it's directed at. I think if you look at the mass support we saw around our country, demonstrations in all 50 states, people of all races and backgrounds in support of Black Lives Matter, and yet our own president won't even admit that we have issues of systemic racism in our country. And so I think that they are out of touch. And I am hopeful that the American people will vote those values, vote that confidence that they have that our America is better when we look at what we have in common with one another, instead of trying to polarize us. And I think what he did, what the governor did, was outrageous. And I think that there will be consequences that have to be paid up and down the ticket, and that the Republicans have to realize how out of touch they are. And that's why, once again, I want everybody to get out there and vote in record numbers to send a powerful message up and down the ticket as to what our country really stands for. What are our values? How do we think we should treat one another?
Hey there, I'm Chris Hayes from MSNBC. Thanks for watching MSNBC on YouTube. If you want to keep up to date with the videos we're putting out, you can click subscribe just below me, or click over on this list to see lots of other great videos.